Good evening, folks. Or should I say good luck? Because if there's one thing history has shown us, it's that people are terrified of just about everything. Monsters, ghosts, demons, shadows, taxes, in-laws, you name it. We found a way to turn it into folklore. And the best part, we love it. Yeah, that's right. We love being scared. We've turned fear into a form of entertainment and art, even a business model. You got horror movies, ghost tours, Halloween, an entire economy built on the idea that we might die, but probably won't. Isn't that adorable? Humanity's greatest fear, packaged in fun-sized portions. Now, the QI of fear in folklore, the quirky intelligence, the strange wisdom in the stories we tell, that's where it gets interesting. Folklore isn't just about keeping kids from wandering into the woods. It's about keeping adults from realizing the woods were never the problem. It's the people in them. We made up boogeymen so we wouldn't have to admit that the real monsters were our neighbors, our leaders, and maybe even ourselves. We tell stories of vampires and werewolves, but what we're really afraid of is our own reflection. The animal inside, the hunger for power, the fear of being powerless. And don't you just love how every culture has its own set of bedtime horrors? Europe had witches, Japan had yokai, Latin America had La Llorona, and America made corporate mascots. That's right, we didn't need curses or ghosts. We just invented billion-dollar cartoon characters that haunt our children's dreams and sell them sugar. Tell me that isn't black magic. But here's the kicker. Fear keeps us curious. It's the spark behind every ghost story, every conspiracy, every late night campfire confession. We poke at the darkness because we want to understand it, maybe even control it. Folklore is our way of negotiating with the unknown. We say, hey, scary thing. I can't kill you, but I can name you. I can make you rhyme. I can turn you into a myth. And suddenly, the thing that terrified us becomes delightful. A little dark, a little twisted, but somehow ours. You ever notice how people love being scared? I mean, they pay for it. You got haunted houses, roller coasters, horror movies, all these ways to flirt with death without the messy paperwork. We're the only species that gets a thrill out of almost dying as a form of recreation. You don't see squirrels lining up to get chased by cars for fun, but people we'll spend $20, stand in line for an hour, and then scream our lungs out because someone in a mask jumped out of a closet. It's ridiculous and kind of beautiful. See, fear has always been our favorite addiction. It's the original drug, no prescription, no hangover, and totally legal. You get a little dose of adrenaline, your heart races, your skin tingles, and suddenly you feel alive. And that's the trick, isn't it? Most of the time, life's just regular. You wake up, you go to work, you eat, you complain, you sleep. Repeat. It's boring. So what do? We inject a little terror into it. We light a campfire, turn off the lights, and tell each other stories about monsters in the woods. You ever notice the grin people get when they say, okay, this one's true. Oh, it's delicious. The storyteller knows it's nonsense. The audience knows it's nonsense. But everyone wants to believe, just a little. That's the sweet spot where fear becomes fun. And the best part is, we've been doing this forever. Back before television, back before books, hell, back before deodorant, people sat around and swapped nightmares like trading cards. Cavemen probably told each other about the giant shadow that lived behind the fire pit. Don't go near it. Ugh. It eats people who don't share their mammoth. Fear was the first social network. It kept people together, made them behave, gave them something to talk about when the weather was bad. Of course, once we started getting smarter, the fears got fancier. We upgraded from monsters under the bed to demons in the soul. Every culture came up with its own way to scare the truth into people. Some had curses, some had spirits, some had priests. And everyone had rules. Don't go into the forest. Don't break the taboo. Don't say the name 3 times because something bad will happen. And nobody ever asked, hey, what's the bad thing exactly? No. We just nodded, lit another candle, and pass the superstition along like a family heirloom. And that's what makes it addictive. Fear gives you control, or at least the illusion of it. If you can predict the bad thing, you feel like you're winning the game. Don't step on a crack. Don't open umbrellas indoors. Don't whistle at night. It's nonsense, but comforting nonsense. The rules make us feel like the chaos of the universe is negotiable. Like we can trick fate with a few good manners and a lucky charm. We treat fear like a pet, something wild we can train to do tricks. Sit, stay, roll over. Don't kill me in my sleep. But here's where it gets funny. We outgrow the old fears and replace them with new ones. We stopped believing in vampires and started believing in credit scores. We traded ghosts for deadlines, demons for disease, witches for weather reports. It's the same panic, just better organized. We don't run from the forest anymore. We run from our inbox. The monster doesn't have fangs now. It has a briefcase and a meeting at 9. And even when there's nothing to be afraid of, we make something up. Humans have this weird psychological itch. If life gets too calm, we get suspicious. Things are going too well. Something's wrong. We can't help it. Peace makes us nervous. That's why people peek behind the shower curtain when they're alone or get spooked by a creaky floorboard in an empty house. It's not the sound that scares us. It's the imagination that kicks in afterward. You start thinking, what if someone's there? And then your brain goes, wouldn't that be exciting? That's fear whispering. Hey, remember me? Let's play. A fear is a form of entertainment, but it's also a reminder that we feel. It's proof the system's still running. When you get scared, your instincts wake up. Your body, your mind, everything tunes in. Suddenly, you're completely present. You ever notice that? When you're afraid, you're not thinking about the groceries or your taxes. You're just there in the moment, pure focus. Fear is mindfulness with better marketing. And when you think about it, it's kind of poetic. The thing we try hardest to avoid is the thing that keeps us most alive. Fear reminds us that we're fragile, temporary, full of nerves and noise, and that's okay. We need that jolt once in a while to shake us out of our routines. Otherwise, we just drift through life half asleep, pretending we're in control. Fear laughs in our faces and says, "You're not in charge, you're just visiting." That's why we never really let go of it. We dress it up in stories, wrap it in folklore, put a mask on it, and take it to the theater. We invite fear to dinner, toast to it, laugh at it. But deep down, we know we'll never quit it. Because the truth is, fear isn't the opposite of joy. It's part of it. The heart pounding, the breath catching, the mind racing. That's life reminding you it's still got your number. So go ahead, jump at the shadows, watch the scary movie, tell the ghost story. Because every scream, every shiver, every laugh that follows, that's the sound of being human. And that, my friends, is the thrill we keep chasing, the darkly delightful heartbeat of fear itself. You ever notice how every culture, every town, every grandmother's attic has a story that's supposed to teach you a lesson? Yeah, right? Folklore is just a fancy word for the stuff people made up when they didn't have cable. It's humanity's first reality show, full of curses, creatures, and cautionary tales. You got witches that eat children, trolls that live under bridges, ghosts that just can't mind their own business. But if you dig under all that spooky nonsense, there's something real hiding there. Every monster, every legend, every whispered bedtime warning, it's a reflection of us. Not the nice, well-behaved version of us that smiles in church and waves at the neighbors. No, the real us. The twitchy, jealous, greedy, curious, occasionally stupid human being. That's the thing about folklore. It's a mirror, and not the kind you want to look in first thing in the morning. We make up stories about vampires sucking blood, but what we're really talking about are the people who drain us dry in life. You know, the boss who keeps you motivated, the friend who borrows everything except responsibility, the neighbor who smiles at you while stealing your sunlight with his new shed. Those are the real vampires, folks. and they don't even sparkle. And then there are werewolves. Everyone loves a good werewolf story. Some poor guy gets bit, turns into a beast when the moon comes out, and goes howling through the countryside. But you ever think maybe that story's about us too? We all got a little werewolf in us. The side we hide during the day when we're polite and civilized, saying please and thank you, and pretending we don't want to scream at traffic. Then night falls, or the wrong song comes on, or your team loses, and suddenly that inner beast's got opinions. Folklore's way of saying, hey, buddy, don't get too confident about being human. You're one full moon away from losing your mind. Witches? Oh, the witches got a bad deal. Every time a woman was smart, curious, or didn't feel like getting married to a farmer with 3 teeth, people said, she's a witch. Burn her. That's what we get for knowing too much before Google. But the witch stories weren't really about evil women. They were about people being scared of power they didn't understand. Fire, medicine, independence. Anything that couldn't be controlled got labeled dark magic. Funny how that works. Folklore doesn't just reveal our fears, it reveals our insecurities. We've been terrified of smart people for centuries. That's why we invented meetings. And ghosts, oh, ghosts are the best. Every culture's got them. The restless dead, walking around in the middle of the night because they've got unfinished business. You know what that really is? That's guilt. Pure and simple. It's the past haunting the present, showing up uninvited like your conscience in a bathrobe. Folklore gave that feeling a shape, a noise, a reason. You don't want to admit you feel bad about something. So you say, oh no, it wasn't me. It was the ghost. That's humanity's spiritual customer service. Blame it on the supernatural. Don't forget the tricksters. Every culture's got one of those too. Loki and Anansi, the coyote, the monkey king. The pranksters who mess things up just to see what happens. Those are the stories that remind us not to take ourselves too seriously. You start thinking you've got the world figured out, and bam! Some divine jokester steals your lunch and teaches you a valuable life lesson. The trickster stories are the universe's way of saying, lighten up, you're not as important as you think. What's amazing is how these stories travel and evolve. One village says it's a banshee, and another calls it a siren. Somebody in another country hears it, adds a tale, gives it an accent, and boom, you've got a whole new mythology. It's like gossip with better lighting. The story keeps changing, but the emotion stays the same. That's what makes folklore powerful. It's emotional recycling. The same fears, same dreams, same stupid mistakes, just new costumes. And, of course, folklore always comes with rules. Don't go out after dark. Don't look back. Don't make a deal with a talking animal. These are the user manuals for surviving human stupidity. But here's the funny part. Nobody ever follows them. Every ghost story starts the same way. Someone breaks the one rule they were given. Don't go into the basement. They go into the basement. Don't open the door. They open the door. Don't say the name. They say it 3 times just to make sure. We need people to ignore the rules or we wouldn't have any stories. Folklore is built on bad decisions. That's why it's so relatable. And while the surface is all magic and mayhem, the message underneath is dead serious. These tales teach survival without preaching. They're how we pass down morals, values, and social common sense without the boring lecture. Instead of saying, don't be greedy, we say, there once was a man who tried to steal gold from the mountain spirit, and now he's a goat. Simple, efficient, unforgettable, and a little terrifying, which helps the lesson stick. Fear's always been a better teacher than logic. Nobody remembers a math formula, but everyone remembers the story where someone got turned into a frog. That's the secret charm of folklore. It makes sense of the nonsense. It turns chaos into caution and fear into wisdom. It's the way our ancestors explained lightning, love, death, and taxes long before accountants existed. And it's still doing that today. Even if we don't believe in goblins or curses, we still tell stories about bad luck, karma, or that one guy who had it coming. We've just updated the monsters, that's all. Folklore holds up a cracked mirror, showing us everything we are: the brave, the foolish, the hopeful, and the haunted.